battle through this spring with guys like Corey Lindsley, Pat Elfine, Billy Price that have set the way. Who's next to take over that position? And running back. How are they going to handle both J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber? Will we see them both on the field at the same time? And defensively, you have defensive line. They've had a ton of production that they've lost. Now, this year we have talent. Now, will they have that production? And then linebacker, losing Tuff Borland until maybe September, maybe October. That's tough. Which young guys are going to step up and make a name for themselves today?
Well, that's all great. We'll keep an eye on all that today. But let's be honest, we want to know about the quarterback battle. That's been the headline story at Ohio State. These are the three quarterbacks in the mix. Dwayne Haskins, who, of course, came on last year in the Michigan game and led Ohio State to the win. Joe Burrow has been a guy who has been expected to make that push, was injured early last year. You see the numbers last season. They were down, didn't have as many opportunities. And Tate Martell, the National High School Player of the Year, also in the mix. So, James, let's go through each of these guys one by one. And let's start with the guy we saw the most of last season, Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, well, Dwayne Haskins took advantage of Joe Burrow getting injured last year. And so whenever he had playing time, he came in and displayed that really strong arm that he displays. Listen, Dwayne Haskins is a guy that made some big throws against Michigan, and he made some really good decisions running the football as well up in Ann Arbor. The pressure didn't get to him. I'm excited to see what he has today.
Well, Joe Burrow, healthy and ready to go this spring and right in the mix for the starting quarterback job.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is the son of a coach. He's a guy that understands the game of football. Big kid, and he's an athlete. He might not run as well as Tate Martell, might not throw as well as Dwayne Haskins, but the kid knows ball, and he's a really good football player. I'm excited to see if he can put it all together, and really kind of a last chance for Joe Burrow to take that starting job here.
All right, and then you've got the wild card in this mix, Tate Martell, who can do a lot of things that make people in the stands gasp.
Yeah, well, I don't think Tate Martell is going to be the starter, but what I know I'll see in this fall is him getting a package of plays. He's a guy that is a wild card because he's so athletic running the football. The National Player of the Year a couple years ago in high school out of Las Vegas. I'm very excited to see what he can do out here today.
All right, the third member of our crew is Bobby Carpenter, standing by with the head coach, Urban Meyer.
All right, Coach, we're in our 7th season now, 7th spring. What have you seen so far from this spring ball that you've liked?
A lot of things I've liked. Obviously, all eyes are on the quarterback battle, and it's what you expected. Three guys that think they want to be the quarterback. Three guys who performed at times like it's not perfect, but all I'm looking for right now is a competitive spirit, and there's some other young players. You know, the offensive line has really come on, and I'm very pleased with where we're at right now.
The additions of Tabor Johnson and Coach Grinch, I mean, what have you thought about how those guys have been integrated into your coaching staff?
Well, Alex Grinch was our 10th coach, so it's a new this year. They gave us a 10th coach, and he's been a coordinator-type personality, coordinator experience. And then he lost Kerry Combs. And whenever you lose a coach of that quality, a guy that I love personally, and we replaced him with a very good coach. So they've added a lot, and their units are playing well, and I'm glad they're here.
You moved this up a little bit today to avoid the weather. What are you hoping to see today out of the game from both sides?
Just thankful to our crowd. You know, we don't take that for granted. I want to see Nick Bosa knows how to play in front of the big show. I want to see Seven Banks. I want to see the quarterbacks perform. You know, because it's a lot different playing in front of the video, and that's it, in front of 80,000 people.
So in 7 years here, this is, you know, you mentioned the quarterback battle. JT Barrett's gone. How have those guys responded? Do you think you'll be able to replace that type of leadership?
Yeah, we haven't named a starter yet, so it's a little more difficult. I think they respect the guys. The guys are playing their tails off, but until you name that starter and he gets most of quality reps, we're still in competition phase.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right, Kevin James, back to you guys.
All right, Bobby, thanks so much. Yeah, competition phase is exactly what Urban Meyer wants to see from these quarterbacks. Of course, you see they're all in the black jersey today. No contact for these quarterbacks, but we'll still get a chance to see what they can do here at Ohio Stadium. Much more to come as we close in on the start of the Scarlet and Gray coming up on BTN. Back to Columbus, Kevin Kugler, James Laurinaitis, Bobby Carpenter, our entire BTN crew getting ready for the Ohio State spring game. It'll start with the circle drill coming up in just a couple of moments. There's a lot of areas to look at today. One area that maybe isn't in question, but is only in question because how do you split the carries between a lot of talented guys? That's at running back position, James.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great problem to have when you have 2,000-yard rushers on the roster. Mike Weber a couple years ago when he was a freshman last year. J.K. Dobbins bursting onto the scene and having a phenomenal season, setting the rushing record for a freshman here at Ohio State. So it's a great problem to have. Urban Meyer can get creative, putting them both on the field at the same time, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of that today.
And, of course, talent always keeps coming into Ohio State. Brian Snead, the four-star, will be in the summertime to join this team for fall practice. You've got Antonio Williams in the mix at running back. Demario McCall, who's now Looks like he's going to spend a little time at H-back today in the spring game. And, of course, the kick and punt return game looks like it's Demario McCall's to lose right now.
It is, and I'm excited to see Demario McCall. He's a guy, like you said, you're trying to find a way to get him on the football field, and Urban Meyer has brought him up throughout spring practice about the return game, how they need to improve there. He's a guy that can do exactly just that, and also spell Paris Campbell in that H-back role, kind of that Curtis Samuel type. Urban Meyer calling Paris Campbell elite earlier in the week, an elite player. Demario McCall trying to steal some of those carries.
Elite's a word he has used to describe what he wants out of his wide receiver core. He wants those guys to be elite. Another area we'll keep an eye on today is Austin Mack, a guy who can jump into that elite role. There's been a lot of talk this spring as far as that wide receiver group with Jalen Harris and how he might be able to fit in once the fall begins.
Yeah, it's amazing. Last year we're talking about wide receiver and kind of a question mark for this team, and now it seems like they have all this experience and the room is really crowded. When I spoke to Urban Meyer this week, he brought up the fact that Terry McLaurin and Paris Campbell are elite leaders, and maybe the only leaders they have on this squad, returning captains. So it's going to be exciting to see a lot of these guys make some plays and really who's going to emerge out of a crowded room.
39 touchdown catches last year by that wide receiver group, and those guys are back. All of last year's top pass catchers back for this Buckeye team this year. Now the question will be who will be throwing the football to them once the season starts. Both Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins are on the Gray squad at quarterback. Tate Martell is on the Scarlet squad, and at least, you know, from a layman's perspective, it looks as if the Gray offense will be going against the top defense on the Scarlet side, ones versus ones in that area.
Yeah, and so if you're trying to read the tea leaves, so to speak, you're saying to yourself,
okay,
really it's Joe
welcome to the
Burrow
coin
and it's
toss.
Dwayne Haskins, and then Tate Martell is third.
Scarlet, you're the home. This is heads. This side is tails.
67 Robert Landers.
Heads, tails.
You call what you want.
It is tails. Who's on the toss, Scarlet? You're going to get the offense. You're going to be on offense first. Scarlet has won the toss and will receive.
Little question as to whether or not they were going to make the decision as to who was going to get the ball. Not Ryan Shazier with the coin toss. Malcolm Jenkins out there. You heard him say, "What do you want to do, Coach? What do you want to do, Coach?" Malcolm Jenkins says, "All right, we'll take the ball." So Scarlet squad is going to be on offense first, and that means we'll get our first look at the quarterback spot at Tate Martell.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Tate Martell. We've heard all about these packages that they're putting for him, that he's super athletic, he can do all these things. I want to see him throw the football. We know he can run, and with the black jersey on, we're not going to see him get hit. So we don't know really how effective he'll be as far as in the open field because guys can't lay him out. But I'm looking forward to seeing how he throws the football and how he runs that offense.
How much does that black jersey on these quarterbacks impact how you evaluate their performance in a game like this?
Well, look, we know that Urban Meyer loves depending on his quarterbacks in really tight football games, especially those third and short situations. Last year it seemed that he always went to J.T. Barrett.
February 10th, 2018. Officer Morelli had previously served as a school resource officer and worked first shift patrol. Officer Eric Joring was hired on December 10th, 2001. Born August 6, 1978. End of watch February 10th, 2018. Officer Joring had served as a patrol officer, a detective, and most recently as a canine officer with his partner, Sam. In attendance this afternoon, in honor of Officers Morelli and Joring, are members of the Westerville Police Department. The Ohio State University Department of Athletics appreciates your bravery and relentless passion for protecting our community. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention is directed to the south end. Under the direction of Dr. Christopher Hoke, Director of Marching and Athletic Bands at Ohio State, to honor America, please rise and join the band in the singing of our national anthem.
The Scarlet and the Gray, the Ohio State spring game. We'll get it started next on BTN. Well, in the excitement of spring games, sometimes things go a little off script. This one certainly did as the Scarlet came out. They started the game. Scarlet goes 3 plays and out. Tate Martell with a swing pass to Master Teague, a scramble, and another scramble. And that's the end of the road for the Scarlet offense. 3 plays and out. Maybe they should have gone on defense first.
Maybe. I think they're a little worried about the weather. It seems like they're going to fast forward out here, just trying to get things rolling.
Drew Chrisman will punt it away. And DeMario McCall back deep. McCall will call for the fair catch, makes it at the 29-yard line. We'll get our first chance now at the Ohio State quarterbacks on the Gray side. Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow after that 36-yard punt.
It's a good
Haskins to start.
It's a good opportunity for Dwayne Haskins to keep the momentum that he ended last year with. A lot of people were calling for his number anytime that JT Parrott seemed to throw an incompletion. Now we'll see what he has here in the spring games. He can keep that momentum going.
Now you see Joe Burrow out there as well. Obviously, in a normal game, you're not going to have both of those guys out there. So they run out onto the field, and now a stoppage and a timeout will be utilized. The officials will take this timeout. The offense will head to one side, the defense the other.
And all that's about there with Joe Burrow back there is mental reps. It's just getting through all that, the same mechanics, the same. If you do the reps mentally over and over, it tells your brain physically you'll be able to pick it up pretty quick.
Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins locked in that battle. The coaches have been saying, James, that it's a 3-man battle. Do you believe that?
I think that they respect all 3 and the work that they've put in through the offseason. I believe it's truly a 2-man battle. Talking to some of the wide receivers early in the week, Johnny Dixon and Paris Campbell, they kept saying the 2 of them, the difference between the ball coming out of the 2 of them. So that led me to believe that there's only 2 guys. But I do think that we will see Tate Martell in spurts this fall because of his athleticism. He could be a guy that comes in and truly can throw a defense off guard by the way that he can run the football.
Well, and we've seen over the years that you've got to have extra quarterbacks ready to play. It's certainly recent Ohio State history, not out of the realm of possibility that 3 quarterbacks have to play a significant role.
No question. You want 3 deep at that position any time you go on the field.
Now we're ready for the first play for the Gray. Haskins to the air for the first time. Paris Campbell with the grab, nudged out by Kendall Sheffield. Kendall Sheffield's going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on going into the fall. You look at that cornerback spot. Jeffrey Okudah out for the spring with the shoulder injury, and Damon Arnett, Kendall Sheffield seem to be the 2 guys locked in at those 2 corner spots right now.
Yeah, in a place that's become DBU, it's going to be exciting to see who that next one's going to be.
Bosa providing a little pressure, and Haskins touched up near the 37-yard line.
As a defensive player, let me tell you, Kevin, I used to hate when they wore the black jerseys and they scramble and then they lower their shoulder, because you're thinking to yourself, listen, I want to go out there and light you up. Yet if you lower your shoulder into me when you can't be touched, that's really going to get my skin boiling there.
So now 3rd and 3 for the Gray. Campbell motioning at the bottom of your screen. And Campbell on the receiving end of that one. Coverage by Isaiah Pryor. And a first down.
That's a good job by Haskins. He knows he's going to be the defense is going to be in man coverage there on a 3rd down short. Most defenses like to play that, to not give up anything easy. He goes to his guy in the slot, easy throw. Throw it to the outside where only his guy can get it.
And now Joe Burrow gets his first snaps at quarterback. Burrow wobbling his first throw.
Yeah, I'm here.
Looks like maybe his arm got hit. But you don't want that to happen if the quarterback's wearing a black jersey. You don't want their arm getting hit. If that's the National Football League, you might be getting sent home. You're getting released if you hit the starting quarterback.
Former Mr. Football in the state of Ohio, Joe Burrow, trying to stake his claim to that starting job. There's DeMario McCall, and call, stopped at the 43, just a pickup of a yard. And 3rd and long now for Burrow and the Buckeye Gray offense.
Early on, you've seen a lot of quick throws, you know, a lot of rhythm stuff, some screens there. But you see them trying to get these QBs going and get comfortable. It'll be interesting if we see anything downfield here.
Got Mumford at left tackle right now and Prince at right tackle on this offensive line as Burrow tries to go downfield looking for McCall, a coverage from Jordan Fuller.
It's a little surprising there with the tackle position. We all have been reading that we thought that Prince would go to the left side and Mumford would be on the right, make that switch, but to have them reversed, it's interesting. And it's not as easy as people think just to switch from one tackle to the other. I've talked to some guys who play tackle and you ask them about it, and they're like, listen, it's like telling yourself you've written one way your whole life to switch how you write,
right hand versus left hand.
And so it's very difficult for these guys. I think a lot of times we just see tackle position and think that it's easy just to switch.
Of course, Prince played right tackle the last couple of years. Struggled a lot in 2016 at that spot, much better last year. Thayer Mumford hit the 2 deep as a true freshman a year ago. Interesting to see. Keep an eye on that one as we move on through this game to see how Urban Meyer has those tackles lined up along that offensive line. So out of bounds at the 18-yard line on the 37-yard punt.
And this has stayed consistent with what Coach Meyer has told us all spring as well, is the fact that the defense seems to be ahead of the offense right now. So both offenses kind of stymied early on. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get warmed up a little here.
Martell on the run. And he's touched up on the edge by Pete Werner. Pete Werner's a guy who's gotten a lot of talk in this very interesting linebacker mix. Werner, the sophomore out of Indianapolis, is a guy that you just keep hearing the word athleticism when you're throwing around with him.
He is. He's very athletic. Has a high motor. And when I walk through the Woody Hayes, you see video of him covering wide receivers at times in man coverage. Very athletic.
Batted down at the line.
Another linebacker there, Baron Browning. That's going to be a guy that you're going to hear a lot about in the future, maybe even this year. Big Mike linebacker. Urban Meyer said about him that he might be as talented as anyone that's walked through the door at linebacker at Ohio State.
We've got Chase Young playing on that defensive line now for the Gray, and a little team switch. As Martell, pressure comes again, using his legs, and Martell touched up shy of the first down at the 35-yard line. But you can just get a glimpse of that athleticism and elusiveness that has people excited about the future for Tate Martell.
Yeah, exactly, and his ability to be able to scramble and make things happen when things break down. And it seems to me that he really only has 1 or 2 reads and he's taken off. He's more comfortable with the ball in his hands running the football right now. And they're just going to give him the first down and hopefully give this offense a little momentum.
And the give is to Master Teague, and Teague touched up and stopped at the 40-yard line.
No gain there, but again, Browning filling that hole really fast. You see how well he scrapes and how well he moves for a big middle linebacker. Really, this whole linebacker core I'm excited to watch, because we've mentioned Werner, we've mentioned Browning, but Dallas Gant has been a guy coming in that Urban Meyer has brought up in press conferences on his own, really unprompted. So it'll be very interesting to see these 3 guys together.
A little bit of room up the middle. You mentioned Dallas Gant, the freshman from Toledo, in that linebacking core. Tate Martell, there's Dallas Gant leaving the field. Urban said he's probably going to play. I'm going to go to him ready to compete on special teams because he's one of those very mature players to come right in. And they really have high hopes for that true freshman.
If you're a true freshman, you come to Ohio State, you have a real chance to play. If you're a special player, Coach Meyer will put you in the field. He'll find a way to get you out there.
Martell looking deep, and he's looking for a guy in Jalen Harris that we were talking about a moment ago. He's had a standout spring, big frame. He can go out and get it, 6'5", 215 pounds. And is he a guy who can be that elite wide receiver?
He is. And last year we saw an up and down year with Benjamin Victor, some drops at times, but also some nice catches in those 50-50 balls. Well, could Jalen Harris be that guy? It kind of seems like, listen, we need one of those big-time receivers. I think it's really going to be a nice battle between those two over who's going to take over. that tall wide receiver position there for Ohio State.
McCall back again. Good punt from Drew Chrisman, driving McCall back. He'll let this one sail over his head and into the end zone for the touchback. 52 yards on the fly, a net of 32 on the touchback for Drew Chrisman. It's not as if the cupboard is bare at Ohio State, but the Buckeyes had to replace quite a bit coming into 2018. Just some of the names that not only did they have to replace, but a lot of those names you're going to hear coming up in the draft in a couple of weeks, specifically Denzel Ward, who's likely top 15 pick. Billy Price, probably a first rounder. Sam Hubbard's kind of on that edge, first round, second round. But there's a lot of guys whose name you will hear very early coming up in the first couple of days of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know all about the records about J.T. Barrett. We've talked a lot about that already, but Billy Price is one, because what that center position does, Kevin, that center position gives you basically a continuity among the offensive line. He's usually the smartest guy in the room, guy that can make a lot of checks, and also a guy that the running backs depend a lot of, because he gets that push in the interior to be able to open things up for them.
Greg Schiano working with his defensive unit down on the field. Got a little different role this year with Alex Grinch coming in as a co-coordinator. Greg Schiano says he's more of a roamer role now. He's working with every unit on the defense. I guess you could call him essentially the head coach of the defense in a lot of ways, as he roams around and works with every single unit.
Well, what that allows him to do, it allows him to focus. He wants a certain technique being played, and he can communicate it to Taver Johnson or to Bill Davis, and he can say to them, hey, I want you guys to work on this today, but maybe they need an extra coach out there for individual drills. He can go down there and help out. So maybe Coach Davis with the linebackers can take the inside guys, Schiano can go take the outside guys and work on these specific techniques that he wants to be coached. That way he can go check and make sure essentially everyone underneath him is doing what he's asking them to do, and really frees him up to do a lot of game planning. And I also heard him say it helps him realize, what does guys do well? You know, maybe this guy doesn't do so well in this technique. Maybe I have to tweak it, where when he was an actual coordinator working with the position as well, he didn't really have that one-on-one time with the players.
It's a defense last year that ended up 9th in the country in total defense, 6th against the run, and scoring defense, always one that seems to hold a little more weight. 15th in the country in scoring defense a year ago. But that middle linebacker spot, one we'll keep an eye on throughout the day today. The corners look okay. Looking for a second safety back there in the back. The defensive line, though, at least on paper, James, seems to be the strength of what Greg Schiano has to start with on this defense. That's a deep and strong defensive line, end-to-end, and in the interior, maybe the deepest that it's been since Urban's been here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it all starts with Nick Bosa, though. I mean, Nick Bosa is a guy that has a relentless motor, is very talented with his hands and how he approaches the game mentally. You can tell that when he goes against an offensive lineman and a tackle, he's able to work certain combinations.
Well, they're honoring Ryan Shazier, one of the honorary captains right now, and that is great to see. Ryan Shazier standing up. We all remember the spinal injury he suffered December of last year against the Bengals. It was frightening. We've seen the progress that he's started to make. He's regained feeling in his legs, and as you can see, he's able to begin walking his rehab with support right now, standing upright and out there on the field again. It is great to see Ryan Shazier upright and out on the field. That has been hard, not only for Buckeye fans, but for anybody who's a fan of football, to see what Ryan Shazier has gone through over the last couple of months. And there's a long road ahead for Ryan Shazier, but that's wonderful progress to see.
It's awesome to see, and you know, as a football player and a linebacker myself, when you saw the injury, you're thinking to yourself, this is a routine tackle. I mean, this is something that I've done numerous times out there on the football field, and it kind of makes you put everything into perspective. You hope for just his standard of living, that he continues to make progress and fully recover, fully walk, and be able to enjoy life.
Throw to the air, finds Paris Campbell. Campbell with some room to run, and Paris Campbell down the sideline. They're going to call.
I don't know if he was touched out there, Kevin. I think he would have made that a house call. And that's what you see with Paris Campbell, his ability to run after the catch. We saw that last year, a lot of these crossing routes that he was able to take for touchdowns because of how explosive he is.
Burrow off play action. With time, finds his tight end, Luke Farrell. Luke Farrell got some praise from Urban Meyer this week at that tight end spot. He said he's kind of advanced in front of the other guys, and that's an interesting position there's not been a lot of talk about. You've got Farrell in the mix. You've got Derek Malone in the mix, Jake Hausman in the mix, but this is where a fall freshman could come in and make a little bit of hay as Burrow gets to the sideline, finding Benjamin Victor makes a nice catch. Jeremy Ruckert comes in the fall. And Urban Meyer said he might be the best tight end prospect he's ever recruited.
That is very high praise right there, considering the guys that he's gotten to not only come to Florida, but also here. And let's not forget about Barry as well, a guy who made the switch last year from D-line to tight end, kind of learned the position, try to see his growth. That was a nice throw there by Joe Burrow on the comeback. Good timing.
Haskins now at quarterback. Paris Campbell on the receiving end. Isaiah Pryor with the touch. We pointed this out on the offensive line earlier, but it bears repeating because those tackles are still flipped, James. You've still got Mumford at left tackle and Prince at right tackle, and the expectation was not necessarily that was going to be the case. You've got Demetrius Knox over at right guard right now, and that center position manned by Brady Taylor, the senior, who looks like maybe he's got a little bit of an edge on that center spot.
Yeah, and I was talking to Robert Landers earlier in the week, and he said that they've really seen a lot of growth in Taylor in the way that he's really grown this spring, and he's had an opportunity to sit back really for a long time and watch the guys that have come through here learn a lot of things. But what I thought was interesting and is really mature of both players is the fact that Taylor and Landers work day in, day out after practice, and they basically give yourself self-scouts on what worked against them in one-on-one stuff, what didn't work, trying to make each other better, and that's really mature for a college football player.
Well, that's a spot that has become the most prominent spot on that offensive line for Ohio State. The Remington Award winner the last 2 years has come from Ohio State. Pat Elflein in 2016, Billy Price a year ago as Chase Young gets the sack for the loss of 8.
And that's what they need out of Chase Young this season. His ability to get off the line of scrimmage. He went right around Munford there at left tackle and was able to get to Haskins. Urban Meyer said he felt it was a little bit of an underwhelming spring for Chase. The fact that he's super athletic. I think you just look at him, you expect production every single day, but he's excited about what's to come from him this fall.
Joe Burrow back in there now. Burrow, good protection this time, and a strike thrown to Austin Mack.
Nice throw, nice catch, and Jordan Fuller was all over him. Another guy that Coach Meyer talked about all spring, having a really strong spring. But Mack's been that guy that could possibly step up at the wide receiver position, and a nice throw. Unfortunately, you got to run that route to the sticks, not short of it.
So Sean Nurnberger will come on, try to get some points on the board. Nurnberger 17 of 21 a year ago. This from 40. And that'll bend right in. And that is good. So the Scarlet jumping on top first. And as we've seen in spring games past, Urban Meyer will keep Nurnberger out there for a little extra work.
Now, these points are precious, Kevin, because the loser usually has to go over to Buckeye Grove and do a little landscaping and mulching with those Buckeye trees over there. I don't know if that will happen today due to weather.
I don't think it'll happen today, but
it will happen. I don't think that there's not bragging going on in the locker room after this game. There definitely is. So these points are crucial.
Now these aren't, because these are just practice.
These aren't here.
Counting.
But I'm saying before that.
Before that, the first points, the first field goal that we saw. Now from 47. Nurnberger good again. And Urban Meyer says back it on up.
This is nice to give a little love to the kicker, let him show off a little bit. Assuming he makes them all.
How nice is it, though, when you've got the head coach standing directly to your right as you kick these?
Hey, that's pressure. If you think that's pressure, imagine when you're going against one of your rivals and you have to make it to win the game. That's real pressure.
From 52, 53 yards, they put it right between, and that one's good. Not going to back him up any further than that.
When I was with the St. Louis Rams, we usually have the whole team around the kicker. So if you had a kicking competition, you had the whole team there screaming and yelling. And so you gave them very limited space. They only take a couple steps anyway, so they don't need a ton of space. You try to put as much noise and pressure on them as possible. It's good for them.
If they missed it, did you hit them?
No.
Okay.
No. No. They heard about it in the locker room. I promise you that.
So down 3-0. The Scarlet team back to work with Tate Martell. Up the middle with Master Teague. The freshman who was the 11th best running back in the nation a year ago out of Blackman High School in Tennessee.
Coach Meyer brought him up this week, and he's a guy, he said he has a little ways to go, but he's excited because he matures. He can be a special one.
Martell off play action finds DeMario McCall, and a flag comes in late. May have gotten a piece of the face mask, or it's a hold. We'll see what the determination is. It's a face mask.
We've seen them trying to get McCall the ball a few times, the screen earlier in the game. They're in a nice deep in route.
There's the face mask. Jocelyn Wint flag for the face mask. Martell on the run, finds McCall again, and DeMario McCall down at the 40-yard line. Not seeing much in the way of tackling
No, I think
in the Scarlet Gray game today.
It looks like more 7-on-7 tap off, but some of these guys are limited. You don't know what some of these players are maybe nursing certain injuries offensively or defensively. You get a small list of guys who are limited. The players know who not to touch and who to touch.
Martell, one of those guys that is a touch, and that touch came there from Dallas Gant.
You can see his elusiveness, though. You can see his ability to basically be a little shifty guy in the open field, and I'm excited to see more of these throws, though, down the field.
Gave him a first down with that scramble.
This is the area of the field, Kevin. You want to see teams take a shot. It's kind of in that, we call it the shot zone when we play. It's just above.
Oh, lots of room for Martell to run. Martell, a little hesitation, and he's going to be touched at the 7-yard line. A touchdown saving touch. Aaron Browning in the area. Also Jocelyn Wint.
Well, great read by Martell there in the sense that the end crashed down and there was nobody out there for him. So a great decision in that zone read. He had the option to give it or keep it. He made the right choice, wide open. A lot of green for him to run.
Should be the final play of the first quarter. Martell on the sprint out. McCall down at the 5-yard line. The touch from Amir Reap.
Sometimes as a defensive player, you appreciate the touch rule because there's some plays like that one where you might swing over the back of the guy if it was live tackling. You get credit for a tackle that might not have happened if you were live.
So they're going to finish this drive, essentially untimed plays here before the second quarter officially begins. A little bit too tall for Master Teague on the pass. It'll bring up third down. Looks like they're going to use some of the clock of the second quarter. Spring game rules are always a little flexible, James.
Yes, they are.
Martell looking for the back of the end zone, and Jalen Harris. Good coverage out there from Sean Wade. And now fourth down.
And when you're as big as Jalen Harris is, that's what you're going to be expected to make those plays. That ball has to be a little higher up for him to go get it. Take advantage of his height. Let him climb the ladder. When you're 6'5", 215, that's what you want, a big red zone threat. And that's where I would look for him to make his biggest impact is down here.
Fourth down, and the Scarlet going to go for it. All day for Martell. Nowhere to go with it. And Martell just had to throw that one out of the back of the end zone, and that will turn it back over to the Gray, but a flag is down.
That decision right there by Tate shows you a young player. It's fourth down.
Can't throw it out of the back.
You can't throw it out of the back of the end zone. You have to try to force something in there, and if it's a pick, okay, it's a touchback. If it's incomplete, it's even better for you because then you're getting the ball down there at the 5-yard line. But you can't throw it. You have to give your receiver a chance to make the catch.
This is the end of the first quarter.
So this is the end of the first quarter. They put the time back on the clock. 3-0 Gray at the end of one. Spring football on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. Kevin Kugler alongside James Laurinaitis, Bobby Carpenter on the sideline with a special guest as we welcome you back to Ohio Stadium. Bobby?
Down here with Thundery captain Malcolm Jenkins, two-time Super Bowl winner, Thorpe Award winner, Buckeye captain. What's it like to be back at Ohio State?
Every time I get back on this campus, man, it's very nostalgic for me to be able to come out of the tunnel, get back in the shoe, just be around the energy, the new blood is fun for me.
You're always the favorite at Ohio State, but this year with Philly, you guys embraced the underdog role on the way to your second Super Bowl. What was that like for you? What was it like for the city?
Man, I think the team really just embodied the spirit of the city of Philadelphia. We're a gritty team that continue to fight regardless of all the adversity we faced with injuries and all that we had. We just found a way to do it and had an attitude about it. And I think it's a special time in the city of Philadelphia. We're just happy as a team to be a part of that.
What do you see here from these young corners? Is cornerback you started off. It seems like every year they have a first-round guy. Do you like what you're seeing from these guys today?
I do. You know, I got a chance to go to the Woody earlier this week, and in true DB fashion, I like to watch one-on-ones. And so I turn on the tape, and you immediately see that they have the talent. A lot of young guys that, you know, just coming up in the ranks. So I'm excited to see what they do in the spring game, and throughout training camp transitions onto the field to see who those next batch of great DBs are going to be.
Well, terrific, Malcolm. Thank you for taking a second. Congratulations on your second Super Bowl.
I appreciate it.
Kevin James, back to you guys.
All right, Bobby, thanks so much. Yeah, you've got in that backfield, Damon Arnett, Kendall Sheffield probably locked in at the corner spot. Jordan Fuller looks to be secure at a safety spot. Okudah is out this spring, so he's not in that corner mix right now. But what about that other safety spot? Is Isaiah Pryor the guy that maybe has the edge in that, or do you look at a guy behind him, James? What do you see?
I like Isaiah Pryor, and a lot of people expected him to get some time last year. A highly recruited kid, 4-star from that IMG Academy. He's one of those guys that people were excited about last year. He made some noise throughout camp, and he's really one of those players. Only 11 tackles last year. He got some spot action when they had some big leads, but I expect him to be that guy to take over. But that's a position that Urban Meyer has consistently said that they need a playmaker to kind of step up there, and they've been looking for. I think we got spoiled with Malik Hooker. Ohio State did, and they need to be able to have an opportunity to have a guy like that step in. But trying to find a Malik Hooker, that's a special talent there.
Well, you mentioned that we talked about that defensive backfield. We talked safeties there. Brendan White at the end of that list obviously comes from great genes with his dad, William, a longtime NFL defensive back and a former Buckeye. But let's look at corners, and Damon Arnett and Kendall Sheffield, the two guys that at least appear to have to be the odds-on favorites to start in the opener against Oregon State at corner. But Marcus Williamson, Shaun Wade, Okudah out this spring. What do you see from the rest of those corners, James?
Yeah, look, they've always reloaded here at corner, and they have the ability and the talent. Kendall Sheffield running some track this offseason, displaying his speed, trying to get faster. Damon Arnett made some plays last season, had 2 interceptions. Sevyn Banks is a name that Urban Meyer brought up pregame. Tyreek Johnson is a big guy coming in that they are excited about. So there's a lot of talent there. It's crowded. But Jeffrey Okudah played very well. Big recruit the year before, played very well in the Cotton Bowl when Denzel Ward decided to sit out that game. So I'm excited to see who emerges. Whenever you have a crowded room like that, competition breeds excellence a lot of times. And sometimes it makes people fall away. Either you thrive on competition or you disappear off competition. And that's what Urban Meyer's tried to create at every position here at Ohio State.
Well, you talk about Kendall Sheffield running a little bit of track. Kendall Sheffield set the Ohio State record in the 60-meter with the indoor team this winter. I mean, that's a little track. He has blazing speed. Hoping to use that on the field this fall for this team. 5-star recruit when he signed with Alabama out of high school. Went junior college and then ended up here. And Ohio State's happy to have him as Haskins goes up top on the first play and almost able to connect with Terry McLaurin. Jordan Fuller in the area. Coverage out there by Kendall Sheffield. Watch this one again.
Just a little too far by Dwayne Haskins. McLaurin tries to lay out for it, but Kendall Sheffield showing that speed there, step for step with him.
Second down from the 35. Johnny Dixon in motion. Here's J.K. Dobbins. Haven't seen much from the running backs today. Jayshon Cornell stopping him before he can really get going on the edge. And that's probably why we haven't seen much of the running backs, because it's essentially two-hand touch right now.
Yeah, it's two-hand touch. It's hard to establish a running game and really see what they're worth when you're going through two-hand touch and tag football. And plus, you want to see what your quarterbacks have. So with the whole QB competition, you want to put them on display as well. So that's why we're not seeing a whole lot of running game today.
And you know what you've got in a lot of ways at that running back spot with Dobbins and Weber. You know you've got two proven guys who can carry the football. Young was arguing that he touched Haskins and should get credit for the sack. The pass incomplete. Young was waving his hands in the air afterwards saying, I touched him. That should be a sack.
And that's the beautiful thing about touch football. When you're out here in pads and you're doing touch, heck, you can try to take any sack you want.
Well, let's watch it again. Should he get the sack credit here?
There's no way that's a sack in a real football game.
Well, no.
When you reach with the opposite hand across your body and you're getting pushed from behind, unless you have superhuman hand strength, you're not grabbing Haskins and taking them down there.
Thayer Mumford, though, is getting some lessons about left tackle in this spring game.
He is, but look, this is a D-line that's extremely talented, and so what better opportunity for a guy who's trying to learn the position and really take over a starting role to be out there going against some of the best in the whole country.
Fair catch signaled for and made inside the 15-yard line. So we've seen the quarterbacks early. Burrow 5 of 7 for 55 yards. Haskins 3 of 6 for 17 yards. We've seen the scrambling ability of Tate Martell.
A lot of those throws have been short throws still. And I think a lot of frustration over the years with J.T. Barrett was they fell in love with the long ball with Cardale Jones hitting Devin Smith, it seemed like every single game back in 2014. And so they always wanted the deep passing game, the explosive yards. And today we've seen a lot of the same crossing routes, rhythm throws, some cutbacks, some hitches. We haven't seen we saw Haskins just try to take a shot and not connect. It'd be nice to see one of these quarterbacks connect on a long one.
The handoff to Teague, and Master Teague trying to find a little bit of running room, gets a yard. Martell 4 for 9 for 27 yards, so we can include him in that quarterback comparison there.
If it wasn't two-hand touch, it'd be nice to know what his rushing yards would be at.
Joe Burrow quarterbacking the Scarlet team right now. And Burrow, quick toss to Demario McCall. Now, we've seen a little bit out of Demario McCall today. He is such an interesting talent for Ohio State. We saw him last year, popped out against Rutgers, had over 100 yards in the Rutgers game. Played 4 games overall last year. We saw him with 270 yards in his freshman season. He's an intriguing guy into the mix for Urban Meyer and this offensive staff to play with, as Elijah Gardner works his way down the sideline and into great territory at the 46.
Yeah, McCall's a guy who Urban Meyer has been trying to find ways to get him the football. Kind of said this is a year he needs to step up, kind of be that guy, emerge into a role, and you see him a lot today.
Master Teague touched up at the 43-yard line, 3-yard pickup on the play.
And Ohio State loves those crossing routes that McCall had the big reception on. It's the one that Paris Campbell had earlier in the game, was a crossing route, catch and run. What it does is you play a lot of man coverage like Greg Schiano does, and it forces picks across the middle of the field.
Gardner was the motion man at the bottom of the screen as Burrow back to work. Another strike to McCall. And McCall with the first down inside the 35 to the 34. Joe Burrow has been on target with what they've asked him to do today, James.
Yes, this is a nice throw. He waits for the break, great timing. A little behind him, but when McCall gets that open, the accuracy isn't that big of a deal.
Burrow on the roll, little sidearm, it ricocheted right back to Joe Burrow. And Burrow will take it out of bounds near the 30-yard line.
You see some of the athleticism with Joe Burrow there. Great awareness. Looks like it hit the back of the helmet.
And Burrow able to stay with it and get positive yardage on the play. He's trying to make a claim for either the starting quarterback job or a wide receiver position. And a flag comes in as he tried to float that one to Jalen Harris. Flag's going to be against the Gray.
Pass interference. Defense number 23. Spike Spotted a foul, automatic. First down.
Johnson Wint called for the interference.
Little double move there. And when you're a DB and you're in man coverage, you have bad eyes. You look at the quarterback maybe a little bit, think a certain route's coming, and then you're forced to grab. Not always a bad play in college football because it's not a spot foul.
With time again, that's dropped. Jalen Harris had a chance at that one. Wint and Reap in the area for the Gray squad.
That was a nice break by Reap. Great timing, gets there right as the ball's getting there. Harris may have fallen victim thinking he wasn't going to get touched with the two-hand touch rules.
On second down, Teague the carry, spun off a blocker, but they're going to call him down at the 15. 4-yard pickup on the play for Master Teague. Oh, they're going to advance it all the way to the 11-yard line.
I was going to say, that's a nice run there. A really good run. I like what I'm seeing on Master Teague. What I'm really curious about, though, is how do these young guys play with the contact when it's full go, when it's live? How do they respond? So far, you've seen some good things out of the freshman Master Teague.
On third down, and a flag comes in. That wind starting to whip a little bit down there on the surface here in Columbus. The storms were expected at some point. So far, we've been able to hold off good weather for this Scarlet and Gray matchup. Late give to Teague, and Teague with a first down. Just got across the line to gain before the touch at the 8-yard line. So it'll be a first down for the Scarlet squad. Joe Burrow engineering a nice drive.
That's a good push by the offensive line there. Second and short, being able to move the defensive line, get enough for a first down.
Burrow on the keep, trying to pick his way into the end zone, but he's touched at the 3-yard line.
That's a really good job filling by Wint. There, number 23 on Gray's defense. Filling up in the hole there with the pull, making sure that Burrow doesn't have an easy touchdown.
And there's a touchdown for Master Teague. And Joe Burrow with the Scarlet squad leads the Scarlet team right down the field, and they take the lead.
Really a nice job by Joe Burrow. A well-engineered drive, some nice rhythm throws, made some really good decisions. Probably could have been in the end zone a little earlier with some of those touches, questionable touches, and where they blew the whistle down. But regardless, nice drive by Joe Burrow. He's looked pretty impressive here to start this spring game.
9 of 12 for 104 yards for both teams combined for Joe Burrow. And the extra point makes it a 7-3 lead for the Scarlet. 5:26 remaining in this first half, and the Scarlet take the 7-3 lead over the Gray. Next to Joe Burrow and Master Teague marching it down the field for Urban Meyer's Scarlet squad.
How do you think that works for a quarterback that goes both ways? Does he get out of the mulching after the game for the losing team, or does he get to...
Perhaps you have to look through the tape and see exactly how much time, break it down percentage-wise, how much time you spent with each team to decide how you end up as the winner or the loser.
I think he's been so impressive that you don't make him do anything after this. I think you just let him. I think he's had a really good start to this game. To be able to flip like that and really take over an offense that was doing okay, kind of stymied a lot when Tate Martell was at the helm. He goes over with the same players and moves them down the field. I think that's something to point out, how well they engineered that drive going down the field. Mario McCall making a few big catches. That's an encouraging drive for the Bucs.
Here's the question I ask you, because it's well known that Joe Burrow is someone who will graduate in May.
Yep.
And there's been no real, I mean, Urban Meyer has addressed it, whether or not Joe Burrow decides to stay if he's not named the starting quarterback. What do you have to see if you're Urban Meyer to be able to talk with him at the end of spring about where he is going forward? Because obviously if Joe Burrow makes a decision to stay or go, it's going to be in large part dependent upon where he sees his future as a starting quarterback with Ohio State.
Yeah, and it's tough for Urban Meyer because you want to have as many talented quarterbacks on your roster as possible. I think if Joe Burrow is obviously more impressive today than the other quarterbacks, you give him an opportunity to continue.
A nice cut from Mike Weber, and Weber coming up with a big play in answer, and Weber towards the end zone. Was he touched? No, it's a touchdown. about that for Mike Weber? 65-yard burst.
What a play and what a read. The cutback, and then in the open field, making Brendan White miss. And showing the speed, Kevin, that he showed last year in that Michigan State game with the explosive runs for touchdowns. What a run by Mike Weber.
Tyreek Johnson might have an argument that he touched him near the 2-yard line, but they're not taking that off the board. And now Tate Martell, it will be. It is not a touchdown. It's first and goal at the 2, and there's Tate Martell with the touchdown. So they did call him down at the 2 on the touch from Tyreek Johnson. Initially ruled a touchdown, and Tate Martell gets the Gray Squad into the end zone for 6. But let's watch the Weber run again, because that's the play that broke this thing.
Look at the cutback here. Behind the tight end block, Mike Weber, then in the open field to make Brendan White miss like that. And you're seeing the speed from him. You saw it last year against Michigan State with the explosive runs for touchdowns. He was tagged down short, so that was a good call. But again, a nice run by Mike Weber. Part of that backfield for Ohio State with Dobbins and Weber that's going to be so dangerous this fall.
So Mike Weber with the big run. Tate Martell finishing it off after the touchdown taken off the board and then placed at the 2.
And in that
Gray with a 10-7 lead.
In that blocking scheme, Kevin, when that tight end comes back, usually the linebackers have to come back a gap. And a lot of times, linebackers won't see that. And they'll get caught up in the trash. That's probably what happened there when Mike Weber was able to cut back. And one of those linebackers got stuck, and one of the D linemen or an offensive lineman cut him off, a big hole. But the impressive thing was Weber's ability to make White miss. When you have someone faced up and you have a two-way go, that's very impressive for the running back to win that.
Joe Burrow engineering the drive prior to the big run from Mike Weber and the touchdown by Martell. The last drive for Joe Burrow, he was really on this drive.
Yeah, he was hitting the call there in stride for a big crossing route. He did a nice decision there. He read that the end was coming up on him, so he gave the ball to Teague. Playing a little receiver as well. Put me down for a completion and a reception. Making good decisions when he is asked to. And he had another nice throw in there on that drive on a deep end cut to McCall. He's had a really nice game so far, has Joe Burrow, making his case for the starting job.
But now, Urban Meyer going to put Dwayne Haskins in the same situation with the Scarlet team. And Haskins will start this drive from the 35-yard line. Master Teague with the run, and a little contact now as Teague is taken down at the 43-yard line.
Again, Master Teague's had some nice runs in this game. Puts his foot in the ground and gets north and south really quickly. The freshman out of Tennessee. North-south. It's nice to see some tackle football out here.
His senior year was cut short with an ankle injury, but boy, was he something in his junior season. Over 2,000 yards and 25 touchdowns for Master Teague. Haskins after the 8-yard run. Quick toss to Demario McCall, and McCall up the sideline. There's another tackle at the 39-yard line. Jawson Wint on the stop.
And again, you're seeing Ohio State utilize these crossing routes. A nice job there by Haskins to put the ball in rhythm. Put it right on McCall, allow him to do what he does best, get the ball in the open field, run after the catch. Nice completion there.
From the 38-yard line on first down. Teague again, another big hole. And Teague down just shy of the 30-yard line. Pickup of 8 more for Master Teague.
You're seeing some space by the Scarlet offense right now, opening some holes for the run game. Where before you're seeing some tag-offs and the whistle getting blown, you're seeing that what actually could happen in the live game. And really nice job by the Scarlet offensive line creating some holes for Master Teague.
Josh Myers, the center on this Scarlet squad. Good snap to Haskins and a toss to Jalen Harris, who makes the diving catch at the 25-yard line. Touched up there by Marcus Williamson after the 6-yard gain.
There's some of that arm strength on display. Simple stop route. He puts it on him quickly. Nice rhythm, nice throw.
First down at the 25-yard line. Nice drive engineered by Haskins here.
Take a shot.
Good protection. Broke down late, looking for the end zone. Caught by Harris. Touchdown.
What a throw by Dwayne Haskins. And what a catch. I mean, DB was all over him. Marcus Williamson in great coverage. But that's an area of the field where you take a shot. That's why I said take a shot, go for it, and you give your big wide receiver an opportunity to make a play. And they did just that. What a throw by Dwayne Haskins. What a catch by Jalen Harris.
Just when you thought maybe there was a little separation in the quarterback range. Oh, Joe Burrow took the Scarlet team right down the field and scored. Well, Dwayne Haskins takes the Scarlet team right down the field and scores.
And so far, both quarterbacks have looked really good with that Scarlet team, and their numbers are looking really impressive. And again, that's the great thing about competition. That's what Urban Meyer's breeding. Don't think that Dwayne Haskins didn't see Joe Burrow just do that. He's thinking, hey, let me get back out here. Let me show what I can do with this unit. I'll go right down the field as well. You love to see that competition because it brings the best out of both of them.
One more look at the touchdown throw from Haskins to Harris.
A little play action, gets the ball out right before the blitz. And just the extension there. The benefit of being tall, being able to put your arms out like that in a big wingspan. But again, he put it only where he could have caught it. Marcus Williamson, I don't even think knew the ball was coming.
Well, right now, if you're Urban Meyer, I don't know how you separate these two quarterbacks. You're going to need Gene Steratore and his index card from last season in the NFL to put a separation between these two quarterbacks.
Well, that's what's so difficult about it is that if it's a clear separation, okay, if Dwayne Haskins had a clear separation, then maybe it's the right thing to do to tell Joe Burrow, and so that maybe, as you mentioned, he can graduate and transfer and play right away for a couple of years. But if it's not, you have to do what the best decision is for your football team. And you've had situations in recent history that have led from injured quarterback, and having to rely on a third quarterback. So you don't want to encourage people to leave your program if you don't have a clear starter or a clear player. And quite frankly, there's been nobody that's separated themselves today or all spring, according to Urban Meyer. So it's a really tough position for Coach Meyer to go through this because he doesn't want to hold a guy around if he's not going to play. He wants to be fair to his players because he cares about them. Yet, what's best for the team if it really is close?
And that's what he said. He said, look, my first loyalty is to Ohio State, but not far behind that is to the kid and his family. And so you've got to balance those two things out when making that decision. But first and foremost is who gives you the best chance to win football games starting on September 1st against Oregon State. Tate Martell back to work, 27 yards passing, 42 yards rushing for Martell and his offensive play today. And he'll work with the Gray squad. And now you'll see a little bit of difference on that offensive line again as Thayer Mumford will go to the right side of the offensive line. It's like Joshua Allaby on that left side, although there's a little bit of confusion as to what they want to do right now. So they're going to bring that offense back to the sideline.
We'll see what Tate Martell can do with this squad here with the starters and see if he can take them down the field, engineer a drive. He just saw the other two quarterbacks do so. So I think the competitor in him isn't thinking the same exact thing. It's time for me to lead a drive, scoring drive, get down there, put 6 on the board.
They are one player short right now in that Gray huddle.
I think sometimes when you're dealing with number issues, you'll have some players switching back and forth.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're trying to get Demario McCall into a gray jersey, but the jersey appears to be hung up on the pads. There he is trying to get outfitted.
They were serious about making him a focal point, weren't they?
Boy, he's been on both teams. Both teams almost every play.
He's been impressive, though, and he really has. And he's done a lot of things that he's been able to obviously, we've seen his run after the catch, having the history of running back. And really Paris Campbell as well, having the history of being a running back in high school, the ability to get the ball in their hands early because let them do what running backs do. Run with the ball in their hands, right? Don't make them be true receivers all the time. So it's been really impressive seeing what they've done with Demario McCall.
Well, you've got KJ Hill out this spring. Of course, Paris Campbell back at H-back. Demario McCall seems to be another weapon that you can put in that spot for this offense coming up in the fall. That could be 3 guys that could really bring you a lot of explosive ability at that H-back position.
Yeah, it is. And they've been looking for one guy to kind of be that Curtis Samuel and take all these touches. And Paris Campbell was that last year. Urban Meyer says that he wants to make Paris that again this year.
Well, tonight on BTN, Dave, Jerry, and Howard break down a full weekend of spring action around the conference. Don't miss the Big Ten Spring Football Report tonight at 6 Eastern right here on BTN. 14-10 advantage for the Scarlet. Gray back to work. Martell on the keep. Nice little cut by Martell, and he gets extra yardage as he juked around Wayne Davis and left him gasping.
He had the whole stadium gasping there with the impressive moves by Tate Martell. And that's what you get with him. You have a guy that's very shifty in the open field, very exciting when the ball's in his hands, and I think that's why you're going to see a package for him come this fall.
Martell to the air, just a little bit wide of Demario McCall. And it'll bring up third down. Third and short here for the Gray.
Third and short, and you're going to have defense most likely in man coverage, trying to take away all the space. You throw the ball, quick routes, and if you're Tate Martell, you're thinking, hey, if my first option isn't open, and they're in man, everyone's backs to me. Take off and run and get the first down.
Martell on the roll. And Martell had to get rid of that one. Nobody open. Pressure coming late from Justin Hilliard. And it'll bring up fourth down.
When you sprint out like that, you limit the quarterback's options to make a quick decision. So your first look is in the flat, the spot route, and then the 7 route. You want to get quick rhythm throws. You run out of space with the sideline a lot of times, and don't give them the opportunity to run it.
Fourth down and 2. Martell, or rather Joe Burrow in there now, and Burrow on the keep gets the first down.
He got it. Nice read to pull that ball. He sensed the end, crashed, and Joe Burrow again making the right decision in the run game as well.
Picks up 3 to the 49. It'll be first down.
We're seeing a little tempo here.
Burrow seems very comfortable with that pace.
Double move.
And finds Benjamin Victor on the sidelines, backing his way to the 20-yard line.
Nice throw by Joe Burrow there. Really nice throw. Put the ball where Victor could go up and get it. Again, tall receiver, 6'4". Talk about competition. We talked about Jalen Harris. Made a nice catch, tall receiver. Victor comes back, makes a nice grab.
Burrow eluding the rush from Jayshon Cornell into the sideline, a little bit low and incomplete. Trying to connect on that sideline. Gage Biken, the intended receiver.
And because he dropped it, doesn't look good, but I'll tell you what, that's one of his best throws of the day. You think about it, what he was looking for is the back coming across the formation. It wasn't open. He's just buying time, and that's the only place he could have put it, where his receiver could have made the catch. So really great accuracy there by Joe Burrow. He didn't catch the ball, and it wasn't a completion, get yardage, but impressive accuracy on the run.
Second down and 10 at the 21. Burrow with backside pressure finds Demario McCall, and McCall brought down at the 18-yard line by Pete Werner. And again, Demario McCall showing himself to be a reliable safety valve today for these quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. He's got to be tired of playing both ways for both offenses there is what I meant. But just an impressive focal point for this offense. And another weapon for the Buckeyes.
Third down and 7. Burrow looking for the end zone, and it's incomplete. And there's a flag. Benjamin Victor, the intended receiver, the coverage from the freshman Seven Banks, who can't believe there's a flag thrown in the end zone.
Pass interference, defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And I love the play call. I really do. When you're in here at 3rd and 6, I think a lot of conventional wisdom is, hey, let's just run something at the sticks, but take a shot. Two or three good things are going to happen for you on offense. You're going to get a touchdown, or you're going to get a pass interference on the defense, most likely. So go for it.
Movement up front. Joe Burrow using a little bit of cadence to draw offsides. The third thing that could happen on that play, that's an interception.
It's an interception,
yeah,
but
that's the bad side of things, right? On first down, trying to pick his way forward is Antonio Williams, and Williams with some hard hitting down to the 3-yard line. I don't know when we turned the switch to a little punishment being handed out on both sides, but the fans liked it.
It seems to be quite random when you turn on the live and when it's a touch, but look at the effort. Time for a guy that's trying to fight for carries with all the attention on Dobbins and Weber. He's trying to show himself, hey, don't forget about me over here.
Picked up 9. Burrow to the air, shoveled and incomplete, and a flag in. Darrell Sinclair, the intended receiver. And the flag thrown right at the goal line.
You know, I've been mentioning how they've run all these crossing routes because of all the man coverage. Every now and again, you get a receiver that sees a DB coming and lays a shot, and
Pass
then you get
interference,
offensive
offense
PI.
number 86. Penalty decline, 3rd down.
Let's look at the replay here. Joe Burrow knows what's coming. He's waiting for the crossing routes. Yeah. He just caught him. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not, but most of the times if the ref thinks it's an obvious pick, he's going to throw that flag. But as a defensive player from experience, you don't get those offensive pass interferences very often.
And a stoppage.
Timeout. Gray. It's the first charge timeout.
A lot easier for Urban Meyer to call the timeout when he's standing out at the 13-yard line. Makes the call right there next to the ref. Bobby Carpenter standing by on the field with Denzel Ward. Bobby?
All right, down here with Denzel Ward, looking to be a potential first round, maybe top 10 draft pick. Denzel, how's the draft process been going for you?
It's been exciting. Like, it's been my dream since I've been little, so now I'm living it. So I'm just trying to just enjoy the whole process, really.
You're back here. Any fond memories from you on these spring games running around making plays? Because you weren't a guy that was super highly recruited.
Yeah, there's a lot of memories here, definitely. This is like where you make your name. And it's just fun coming out in front of these fans here at Ohio State. So this is a dream, being here at Ohio State and being able to go to the league and compete there as well.
Ohio State now looking deep, like DBU, all the corners going the first round. You look like to be the next guy. What do you think about the young guys here who you played with the last couple of years?
Yeah, they're looking good. I feel they're definitely the next up. We got guys like Damon Arnett, Kendall Sheffield, Jeffrey Okudah, Sean Wade, and so on. All those guys are very talented. And I think they're still going to do good under Coach Tabor Johnson.
Any favorite teams you'd like to be drafted to this year?
Nah, not really. I'm just whoever believe in me, that's who I want to go play for.
I love it. Well, thank you, Denzel. We appreciate it. Kevin James, back to you.
Now, a guy who's going to hear his name called very early in that draft, James.
Very talented corner, and really a guy that has been coached up well. I mean, I always love that question when you ask a guy where you want to get drafted, and he knows to say, hey, whoever takes me, whoever believes in me, and that's all you want when you come out of the draft. You want a team just to believe in you, take you, and he's going to be taken very early. He won't have to wait long when the NFL draft first round comes along.
Third down and goal with 28 seconds left until halftime. Scarlet leading the Gray 14-10.
And they came out last time before they called the timeout in an empty set. So no back in the backfield. Spreads out the defense and gives the quarterback, Burrow, an opportunity to look, scan, see what coverage they're in, man zone. And if it's man, someone's easy throw, you can make it. And if not, you can take off and run because you know the defense is spread out. But third down this close to the goal line and that short, I'm expecting this to be man coverage on defense.
Good protection. Benjamin Victor, did he pull it in? Did he get his feet in? No, incomplete.
Ruling on the field, receiver's out of bounds. 4th down.
So 4th down. Oh, that's close.
Gosh, yeah, that was really close. Looked at that right foot.
One more look at it here. In a regular season game, that might merit a challenge. In the spring game, not so much. On 4th down, just a yard to go for the first, driving into the pile and backing towards the goal line and down at the 1, 1st and goal. No, touchdown. The near official called it down at the 1. The up official calls it a touchdown. So Antonio Williams into the end zone for 6.
We've seen a couple of really hard runs by Antonio Williams. He lowers his shoulder here. I mean, he stood up at the 2-yard line, and he just keeps driving and driving. Gets awarded the touchdown. Allegedly.
Extra point for Blake Hallville, up and good. And the Gray leading the Scarlet 17-14. It's been an eventful first half. Plenty to digest if you're a Buckeye fan from what you've seen here from the quarterbacks, from the offensive line play, even from a couple of the running backs. Mike Weber with that tremendous run earlier on of 63 yards. Antonio Williams has shown some toughness. Demario McCall at that H-back position has been all over the field.
I think Jalen Harris had a nice reception to Benjamin Victor. But you're right, Demario McCall has been the guy to me, just because we've called his name a lot, but you've seen what to expect from him. Come the fall when these things count, he's going to be on the field a whole lot for Ohio State.
Haskins back to work. Looking deep. Trying to bat it to himself is Jalen Harris. He was tied up down that sideline with Marcus Williamson. Almost made a spectacular catch.
That's a nice job by Williamson looking back here for the football. He's in a hand fight right there. They're both grabbing each other. But the fact that he's able to look back and not get a PI, that's really good job.
Master Teague not finding much running room up the middle. Aaron Cox the first to make contact. And the clock has hit triple zeros. We'll see if that is actually the end of the first half. Looks like they're going to keep going here. Yeah, you never call anything over in a spring game. On third down. Haskins back to the air, incomplete again. Coverage from Williamson once more. Jalen Harris the intended target, and it's fourth down.
And another really good job by Williamson looking back. And those plays, when you're in a hand fight with the wide receiver, a lot of times the ref's going to have his hand on that flag looking for you whether you're looking back or not. And both times on this drive, he's looked back and had really nice pass breakups. Strong showing by Williamson.
As if we're going to adjust the line of scrimmage and work on a short yardage situation. Fourth and short. Tate Martell in at quarterback. Martell on the keep. Martell with a first down and more. Martell, now they're going to say he's down at the 49-yard line.
That is very, very generous call, I believe. But I like the fact that Martell is showing his athleticism. You've seen it all day. Let's see if he gets him.
I would not have called that a touch.
I would not have either. But you get to work out. You get more reps this way.
He'll keep it again. Little jump stop for Martell down at the 44.
And that's what excites fans, is to be able to see that ability to make things happen in the open field. Making good decisions on when to keep it and when to run it. I would like to see a little better accuracy in the throwing game with Martell, but goodness, is he impressive when he runs the football.
Incomplete. Looking for Deshaun White. Coverage from Hayden Jester.
Nice job by Jester playing that crossing route, staying in phase, not giving him any space. That's stressful when you're a linebacker. You see a crosser coming over, you know you got to be out in front of it. If they have a step on you, you're in chase mode. But really nice job expanding with the crosser.
If you're watching this wondering where the clock went, there is no clock. These are untimed plays before halftime. We're extending the first half. Martell with time. Throws it short and incomplete. Looking for Derek Malone, his tight end. Walk on. Derek Malone unable to pull that one in.
Martell put it right on the money. You gotta catch that. You gotta catch that. When you have the opportunity to make a play, you have to make it, and that one there isn't on Martell.
So now the clock has started again, and they're going to do a running clock. Martell incomplete for Elijah Gardner. This is slightly off script from what we had been told was going to happen, so we'll just roll with it. Clock's running.
It says third quarter, so I don't know if they skipped halftime and just decided to roll with it because the running clock in the second half. They might have just said, hey.
Well, while they get regathered here for what may or may not be the third quarter, we'll step aside. More of the Scarlet and Gray game from Columbus in a moment on BTN. Back of the shoe alongside James Laurinaitis with Bobby Carpenter on the field, Kevin Kugler. You see it is now the third quarter. We have not moved ahead to further action. We're just rolling. We're just rolling along. Third quarter. Clock will be running. 6:59 in the third, with the Gray leading the Scarlets 17-14. One up top, deep shot. Benjamin Victor with the catch. Good way to come out of break with the deep shot from Haskins to Victor.
And there's the arm strength from Dwayne Haskins. Look at that throw. Nice touch. Puts it only where Victor, maybe a little push off there, but listen, Ben Victor is a guy that had flashes last season. You saw the talent and the ability. It's nice to see him bring that one in.
Haskins on first down. And Haskins will just duck out of bounds near the 15-yard line. A pickup of 1 on the scramble, second down.
With Benjamin Victor's talent and his size and his speed, he's a guy that could be a star at Ohio State. If he can put it all together and be a guy that consistently makes plays, catches the balls, those 50-50 balls, be a jump ball guy, he's a real threat for the Scarlet and Gray.
Antonio Williams on second down. Got a good block on the edge, and Williams just tripped up before the end zone by Wayne Davis around the ankles. Down to the 4-yard line, where it'll be first and goal. And in that wide receiver spot, you've got Johnny Dixon, Terry McLaurin, Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor. Then you've got the H-back with Paris Campbell, DeMario McCall, KJ Hill. A lot of weapons for whoever wins this quarterback battle.
And it was a position a year ago we were wondering, where's the production going to come from? And now it seems like it's extremely crowded in there. So, again, whoever wins this QB job is going to have a lot of pieces to work with.
On first down, Williams trying to find room up the middle. And Williams down near the 2-yard line. It'll be second and goal from there. We're in the third quarter. Third and fourth quarters will see a running clock today. At least those were the initial rules. Now you'll see it stop from time to time because the head coach always reserves the discretion to stop it whenever he wants. Haskins to the air, looking for Victor, who juggles it and pulls it in for the touchdown. Good concentration by Benjamin Victor to snare that one for 6.
Great throw, back shoulder in the end zone there. Look, Ben Victor, I'm telling you, he's a guy that can win these contested 50-50 balls, and that's great coverage by Banks, the freshman. He's all over him. He's going to learn in time, know where you are on the field, know when to expect a back shoulder fade. But again, Dwayne Haskins displaying the arm strength. Great focus by Victor to catch it on the juggle.
Ball Bill for the extra point. And a 24-14 lead for the Gray with 4:30 remaining in the third. And we've talked about this quarterback race all day. It's the headline story at Ohio State. And there are the numbers so far on the quarterback battle. Dwayne Haskins, 8 of 13, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 11 of 17, 137 yards. And Tate Martell, 4 for 13, 27 yards. Martell has obviously gotten a chunk of his yardage on the ground as a scrambler. Martell running the football today has 54 yards rushing.
And these guys are just making it more difficult for Urban Meyer to make a decision. You see what Tate Martell can do. I love him in the red zone, opportunities of some short yardage. You get him in one-on-one space and tackles. He's going to win those battles more often than not. So really good display by Dwayne Haskins and Burrow through the air, but Tate Martell, I thought, has been extremely impressive on the ground today.
4.5 remaining in this third quarter. The Gray with the advantage over the Scarlet, 24-14. Urban Meyer said just the other day, as far as those quarterbacks go, he says, right now I can't name a 1, I can't even name a number 3. All 3 are close. There are times you wish they would separate, but they have not yet in his mind. And I'm not sure we've seen a lot of separation from the top 2 guys today either.
No, we haven't. And just when you think early on in the game, we thought Joe Burrow was making a case, Dwayne Haskins comes right out, leads a touchdown drive as well. So it's been back and forth really all spring and continuing with this game.
Haskins back to work, going deep down the sideline. Jump ball for Harris, and it's incomplete. Williamson out there on the coverage. And Williamson and Harris have been engaged in hand-to-hand combat down that sideline today.
Well, Harris got the better of him on the touchdown catch. Williamson since then has been blanket coverage. Again, doing a really good job in phase, running with them, turns around. That's really good ball skills by Williamson. He has a really good knack to know when the ball is coming and gets his head around. Really nice job.
On 2nd down and 10, Gardner in motion. And Haskins has it batted down by Baron Browning. The sophomore is a guy to keep your eyes on in the fall. Baron Browning out of Fort Worth, Texas. Didn't see much of him in the spring last year because he battled that shoulder injury. 12 games last year with 14 tackles, but he is somebody to keep an eye on.
I went to practice last year in camp. I was like, who's this number 5? Because he's 6'4", 238 as a true freshman last year. And you see the size, you see the ability. That's his second PBU there, batting the ball down at the line of scrimmage.
On 3rd down, looking for Harris, and Jalen Harris makes the catch just shy of the 1st down by about a half-yard tackle from Williamson. And it'll bring up a 4th down and short. 9-yard pickup on the play to Harris. On 4th down, Master Teague with the carry, and Teague with a 1st down. An ankle tackle from Hayden Jester at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, touchdown saving tackle there by Hayden, and really a nice cut by Master Teague. Look at the replay. He comes back with the tight end and cut the backside here behind the tackle. It's a really nice job. Great vision from the freshman.
17-yard pickup for Teague. He's had some good moments in this game for the Scarlet squad. There's Teague again. Teague tripped up at the 30-yard line.
Teague is trying to make a really good impression in a crowded running back room. Probably understands that the touches aren't going to be coming his way this year, but he's letting the coaches know, listen, in the future, I can be your guy. Let me put this on display today for you. Really nice job, and might have the best name on the roster.
He might,
with Master Teague.
13 carries, 71 yards for Teague today. Well, you're right. It is a crowded room. You've got Weber, Dobbins, Williams. We mentioned earlier Brian Snead coming in the summer as another highly touted recruit. And Master Teague in early this year as a freshman. Getting some work in this spring game. On 2nd down, not much room there. Hole closed quickly with Baron Browning.
And you're going to see Demario McCall, I think, get some touches there as well. If you remember when they had Curtis Samuel, they used to put him in the backfield a whole lot, give him some touches on some sweeps. You'll see McCall get some as well in that H-back position. Well, a lot of pieces to play with if you're Kevin Wilson and Ryan Day. Haskins knows he's in man coverage on defense. You see the linebackers at the bottom of the screen walk down. should know where he wants to go with the football.
On third down, he does. Looking in the same spot he's tried to get to all day. Jalen Harris, who's been locked up down that sideline with Marcus Williamson.
With the exception of the touchdown catch earlier on, Williamson has gotten the better of Jalen Harris. He's really done a really nice job. You love to see a player bounce back like that. When something doesn't go right, especially at the corner position, you got to be able to forget about that instantly, keep pushing forward and keep making plays, and he's done that. Been very impressed with Marcus Williamson.
Haskins back to the air, incomplete. Gardner, the nearest receiver in the area. Now the clock has expired in the third quarter. So we shift to the fourth. We'll flip sides of the field. A 24-14 lead for the Gray. Spring football on BTN is brought to you by Duluth Trading. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen. Back at it is the Gray going up top to Mario. McCall is open. McCall into the end zone for the touchdown. 50 yards from Joe Burrow to DeMario McCall, and the Gray extend the lead.
Two guys who've had a strong day already, connecting on a deep pass. You love the shot, the aggressiveness, and there was nobody around DeMario McCall. Maybe a busted coverage, it looked like. Regardless, a nice throw by Joe Burrow. A little shoulder twitch to get the safety to stay in the middle.
How about DeMario McCall today? 8 catches for 121 yards and the touchdown. And Joe Burrow continuing to impress. Burrow and Haskins have both made some terrific throws today.
Yeah, they have, and DeMario McCall's taking advantage of the fact that some of the older guys, Paris Campbell, is limited. Coach Meyer has seen what they can do, so you have an opportunity to fill in that role. He's come out and excelled.
8:40 remaining in this fourth quarter. The Gray up 31-14. And Bobby Carpenter is standing by on the field with Andrew Norwell.
So down here with Andrew Norwell, one of the mainstays on this offensive line when Urban Meyer first got here. When he came in and you realized this was such an offensive line dominated team, how important was it for your development here at Ohio State?
It was very important. Just legendary lineman coming out here. Orlando Pace was down on the sidelines, so it's always great to see him. And just to carry on to the tradition, you know, like former greats like Kirk Barton and all them guys, and just to carry the torch, and that's what it's really about, just the brotherhood and passing it along down to the younger guys.
Sure, a guy that came in, you know, came out very physical, tough player, had some things to work on, undrafted, go from undrafted to all-pro, signed the big contract. How great has it been for you this offseason?
It's been a tremendous offseason. You know, it's been a whirlwind, and I'm just ready to get things picked back up with OTA starting on Monday. And I'm really just looking forward to it and start a new chapter.
You leave Carolina, you go to Jacksonville, another team contending. How important was it for you to go to a contender this offseason?
It was very important. They have something special going on down there, and you can just feel it right when I walked in the building. And I'm just looking forward to helping them win the Super Bowl this year.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Andrew Norwell, All-Pro, Jacksonville Jaguars. James, Kev, back to you.
All right, Bobby, thanks so much. We've got a flag for a hold on this toss from Tate Martell.
Holding, offense, number 74. Field decline, fourth down.
Clock continuing to run in this fourth quarter. Fourth down at 5, and Martell and the offense stay on the field, down 31-14.
Looks like they moved it up to 4th and 2. And they keep doing that with Tate Martell in the game, so maybe it is a short yardage package they're trying to work on with Tate Martell.
And they give up the middle. Mitch Rossi with the carry, and he's got the first down to the 48-yard line.
And I say that because we saw JT Barrett do that a lot. We saw whenever he got to 4th and short, 3rd and short, and coach needed to dial something up, he trusts the quarterback with the ball in his hands. You see the athleticism from Tate Martell and his ability to convert those.
Martell off play action, finds Derek Malone, the tight end, a minimal gain. Well, we've been able to avoid those rain showers that were expected all day long. The move of a couple of hours earlier has certainly helped from that regard. To get this spring game in and give Urban Meyer and his kids a chance to be on the field in front of Buckeye fans today.
Well, Urban Meyer spoke all week that there's a couple things of why you want to play this game. It's recruiting. It's the opportunity to get guys that haven't played in front of a big crowd to do so, see if they can handle it.
Martell scoots out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Pick up a 4 on the scramble for Tate Martell. To the sideline, diving attempt by Shaun Wade, and it is incomplete. Officials are going to confer about this just to make sure. Did Shaun Wade get his hands underneath this and pick it off in bounds? Did he? Yes, he did.
On the field is a completed pass.
Oh, yeah, that's an interception.
Interception by the defense, number 24. First down. Great.
So after a conference on the sidelines, it is an interception for Shaun Wade.
That's a great read by Wade. His ability to jump the comeback, finishes on the play. Nice catch laying out for it. Maintaining control through the ground.
And the first turnover of the game comes on an excellent interception from Shaun Wade. Four minutes and counting to go in this one.
You heard Malcolm Jenkins talk about the talent in that room when he was watching film. Shaun Wade trying to make his case. Redshirt freshman, 5-star out of Jacksonville, Florida. You see the talent. I don't think that reps even late in this game. Coaches are going to comb through every single rep in here. They want to see who's still competing. Late in the fourth quarter, running clock. There's a storm coming. Who's still competing out here for a job and for playing time?
On first down, the carry for Amari McMahon. Walk on to the Buckeye program. Takes it out to the 40-yard line. Burrow in at quarterback once more on 2nd and 8. And a little movement early. Scarlett will decline that penalty. So it's 2nd and 8. Burrow going to keep it. And not finding any room on the outside. Closing quickly was Tyreek Johnson, the true freshman out of Jacksonville. Ohio State won a big recruiting battle for Johnson. Beat out Penn State, Georgia, Florida State, Clemson.
It's been well documented, but the job that Urban Meyer has done recruiting, I think Ohio State fans are taking it for granted. The job that he has done to be able to go in places and win some battles. It's been really impressive, especially at positions where guys know that there's already talent there to still get guys that come here and commit.
And Demario McCall with another catch. Down at the 41-yard line. Pick up of 2 on the play as we slide under 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter.
That was a nice job closing by Isaiah Pryor there. Didn't give him much room. We've seen Demario McCall run after catch. He wasn't going to let that happen. Nice job.
So 4th down and 7. Pocket collapsing on Burrow. And the pass incomplete. He's trying to get out of trouble looking for Benjamin Victor. There is a flag down. And it's going to be defensive holding, and it's going to give the Gray new life. But very little time.
defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Jayshon Cornell called for the hold.
And that's a backbreaker. I mean, 4th down, you just can't get a holding call. It's one of those that you're off the field, you're celebrating. It's one of those, it can turn the momentum, not only within a drive, but within a game. You just have to be smarter than that on 4th and 7.
McMahon trying to pick his way forward. So as we wind down in this one, James Laurinaitis, what have we learned today about Ohio State that we maybe didn't know a couple of hours ago?
Well, we learned that Demario McCall is going to have an increased role. I think some of that had to do with Paris Campbell having limited action just because he's a 5th-year senior. I don't think we learned a lot about quarterback. We learned that they have really 2 guys. I think that Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow separated themselves today as the passers of the football, where Tate Martell, you can see the athleticism as the runner, and he definitely will have a package. But big picture-wise, I believe that it's really a 2-man race, not a 3-man race.
Burrow back to the air, finds Benjamin Victor. And Victor trying to break out of the tackle of Sevyn Banks. Can't get away at the 41-yard line. 8-yard pickup on the play.
And Victor's had a strong day, making a lot of catches in contested areas. You want to see that growth from him. And Sevyn Banks, although Victor's made some nice catches on him, he has been blanketed. I think with just experience, he'll learn how to get some more PBUs in those situations.
Looking for Victor again is Joe Burrow. Well covered was Victor. Not much room to get that one in there. Time winding down on this one. Victor with 5 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown today.
That's a great sign if you're a Buckeye fan, because you want to see big, tall, lengthy, fast receiver continue to grow. Because I thought he had a very up and down year last year, some really impressive moments, some drops as well. You can get more consistent play from Benjamin Victor. He can be really special.
Now Urban Meyer and this Buckeye program have certainly embodied the State Farm state of success. 12-0, 12-2, 14-1 national champs, 12-1, 11-2, and 12-2. Ohio State has been a state of success under Urban Meyer. And this Buckeye program trying to pick up where it left off last year. Big wins in the Big Ten championship game and in the Cotton Bowl over USC. And Joe Burrow's scramble has sent us to zeros on the clock, but I don't think they're done just yet. This may be the final play. That's what we're being told from the field. Half the team has already left. The gray squad has started to filter out onto the field behind the play. Final play of the spring game for Joe Burrow. And Burrow airing it deep, looking for Demario McCall. McCall's got it for the touchdown. That's a good way to cap the Scarlet and Gray game as Burrow finds one of the stars of the spring, Demario McCall, for 6.
I mean, what a throw and catch. You put it right on the money. Last play. Defense has to know they're taking a shot. It's last play. They're not going to run the ball. And still, he puts it right on the money. Let's look at the replay. Delivers it only where McCall can catch it. A beauty and a strong performance from Joe Burrow and Demario McCall. A fitting way to end the spring game with 2 guys who I thought stood out today.
Burrow, Haskins, both right there in the thick of things in that quarterback battle. And the rain begins to fall as the spring game comes to a close. We listen in to Carmen, Ohio.
assistance in the parking lot. Simply contact
Scarlet and Gray
nearest coach.
game comes to a close with the Gray winning this one 37-14 over the Scarlet. And now the offseason begins again for Ohio State football, aiming for that September 1 date against Oregon State. Joe Burrow, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Haskins, 121 yards and 2 scores. Tate Martell, 5 of 16 for 28 yards and an interception. He also rushed on the day for 59 yards. So the rain just beginning to fall as this game came to a close. The timing worked out perfect today for Ohio State.
That's why they jumped the gun on us and they decided to start and no halftime. Got it all in.
It was supposed to be a 5-minute halftime. It turned into a 0-minute halftime, and they just moved on to the third quarter, which worked out great for everybody involved. They got the game in. They got the experience that they were looking for. And now they've got some decisions to make as they move into fall practice in just a few months.
I think Buckeye fans that were looking for a decision from Coach Meyer on the quarterback aren't going to get one before fall camp. Now, what you hope is the fact that you make one by a couple weeks in so that you can get some continuity with the guys. Because speaking to them this week, they mentioned, receivers mentioned that the ball comes out of each of their hands differently, so your timing on routes is different. Mike Weber said to me that even the way they put the ball in the pocket in his arms on zone read fakes and when they're going to give it between the 2 quarterbacks is different. So it's going to be, hopefully they make the decision pretty fast in the fall.
Bobby Carpenter standing by with the head coach.
All right, we got Coach Meyer down here. Maybe what was the fastest spring game in recorded history? How'd you think it looked?
Oh, it was all right. I thought DeMario McCall, I thought the quarterbacks made some plays, and our defense is so limited, we don't let them do much. I'm just thankful for our crowd. I wanted to see some guys perform in front of a big crowd. They did. They stayed dry, and then let the rain come, and we're good.
I mentioned the quarterback performance out there. Both guys seemed to look pretty good, pretty accurate. Were you happy with their performances?
Yeah, Tate was as accurate throwing the ball, but his athleticism showed out. The 2 other quarterbacks, we're going to review it statistically and analyze everything and make a decision.
Both of the running backs also, J.K. and Mike, looked very good today. I mean, you happy with their progress?
Yeah, we didn't. We tagged off, obviously. When you start, those 2 guys are 1,000-yard rushers, and I appreciate our fans' patience to not, but that's smart not to start wiping those guys out. There'll be a time for that.
It looks like you have the best fan here, Coach. Thanks here, number 7 spring game in the books.
Thanks.